So why did Midcounties enter this market? Well, I think that rather like food and other basic everyday needs, energy is one of those indispensable things which households have no discretion about taking, and yet it's being offered to the public in a very poor way. It's been sold very badly. There's an unnecessary proliferation of tariffs. We count 4,000 in total in the UK. And there's general mistrust about energy providers. The relationship between retail prices that the consumer pays and the wholesale costs that the energy suppliers pay seems very opaque and very indirect. So I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the circumstances in energy today are not very different from the circumstances in 1844 when the first retail cooperative society was formed by the Rochdale pioneers, where again a basic everyday need was being poorly delivered by an oligopoly of wholesale providers. Sorry, there's a question coming now.
My question is twofold. One is, I understand you've been in Bing 12 months. Can I ask how many times you've increased the prices since then? And how much notice do you give the customers that there will be a price increase? And the second point I'd like to make, I'm very interested in picking up your literature, but I noticed there is no mention at all in here of tariff prices. Now, you stated that motivation of moving suppliers is that. I'm rather surprised that it hasn't been. I appreciate this could be area, though. Prices, no doubt, differ area to area.
Yeah.
Am I correct on that?
Okay, yeah, they do. So on that particular point, we have all our prices available, including archive historical prices, so that you can see any change for all 14 regions on the website. And if you prefer to get them over the phone, you could call the call centre.
Hi. My question is about smart meters. Could you please tell us more about smart meters and their provision?
That's one for Ramsey.
Is this working? Yep. Smart meters, there are two elements really to what a smart meter does. It records the electricity that's been used, or gas, much more accurately. It'll do it in real time, so you can, if you have a display unit, you can actually see what you're using at a point in time. It'll record it for every half hour of every day, and that enables the sort of customer and the energy company to know exactly what's being used. That in turn leads to accurate bills, because it means that there's we know precisely what there is. The other element of the smart meter is the communications. It has effectively a mobile phone in it to send that information back to the supplier. So for the customer, it's accuracy of bills, accuracy of what you're using, and the people who've had smart meters so far have found that they've been able to use that information to understand how they use energy and change their behaviour a bit to use less and reduce their bills.
Thank you. Firstly, congratulations on sourcing all your electricity from renewable sources in the first year. That's brilliant to know. I could let you have a bit more because I've got PV panels on my roof which I sell back to the grid, but I've got to use my previous supplier because you're not yet in a position, as I understand it, to do deals with customers on buying back power that's generated by home production, as it were. Could you say if you're moving forward on that one?
Good morning, thank you for your question. Co-operative Energy does now provide feed-in tariff payments to customers with solar PV installations. So we'd welcome your business. Please give us a call on the general customer service number and we'll take care of that with our small fit installation team.
Is there any danger, I know it may have been mentioned earlier, that call centres for customers being transferred to, say, Germany or India, can it be safely guaranteed they will stay in this country?
What a wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. I can absolutely guarantee I'm not moving to Germany or anywhere else in Europe, and I intend to retain our customer service in Warwickshire. We are moving to a new building shortly to allow us to cope with the expansion of our business, but our intent is to always give you UK-staffed, Midcounties employees, and to provide that service when you need it 7 days a week. 7 days a week, yes.
There was another question over there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the wonderful story. 2 questions. One is, have you consulted members, or are you thinking of consulting members, about the balance of preference between sustainability and price? Because there are some customers who would value sustainability over price up to a point. It must be a delicate balance. And the second point is the nuclear option. And could you possibly guarantee that we will not be buying nuclear power?
Do you want to take the nuclear one, Ramsey?
There's, right, thank you. Well, yeah, two elements to that question. Currently, in the UK, the price differential between different sort of energy generation sources, the way the wholesale market operates, is very, very slight. So it's not making any significant difference, the fact that we're buying 100% renewable. We can't guarantee that will always be the case in the future. 6 or 7 years ago, renewables was at a considerable premium. As far as nuclear is concerned, we will not make a categorical guarantee that we will never buy renewables. However,
Nuclear.
big however, we haven't bought renewable, we haven't, nuclear. We won't buy nuclear, get this right. We haven't bought any nuclear. We have no intention of buying nuclear. I can't see us buying nuclear in the foreseeable future. But if circumstances arose where it was nuclear or coal, that would be a debate which I think we would have to sort of bring in with the to the membership.
My question concerns shale gas. We've heard a lot in the press about the dangers of fracking and earthquakes, but I've also read scientific papers that say there is a slight risk, but it's no worse than coal mining was. How are we going to arrive at our position, whether we lobby for or against exploitation of coal gas in the UK?
This is another Ramsey one. As you can tell, Ramsey looks after energy purchasing, amongst other things. Shale gas is a very interesting one. I mean, I think it'd be fair to say that we have no intention of buying gas from sort of shale gas in the UK. What we have to be a little wary of with shale gas is that gas is an international commodity, and the effect of shale gas has been to reduce prices of gas, first in North America, and then that has had a global impact. So we aren't buying any shale gas in the UK. I know that there are sort of trials going on in Blackpool, notoriously causing earthquakes and so on. But the shale gas hasn't, indirectly it is impacting, because it's impacting the global markets. I think that we need to understand more science. It's something we haven't had a sort of real debate on yet. I've got one final slide, which is to say that if we've been unable to answer your questions, we would really value your feedback through any one of those channels or media or whatever. So why did Midcounties take this big decision of entering the energy supply market? Well, first of all, it's a big market. Every household uses energy to some degree. And so the size of the market is enormous. The average household is paying now more than £1,000 for their gas and electricity. And it's one of those everyday essential household needs, but one which is being very poorly provided by the incumbent energy suppliers. And there seems to be a market which has really lost touch with what it's there to do. There's a bewildering number of tariffs in the market for what is essentially an identical commodity product. We counted 4,000 tariffs if you include all the permutations, which is ridiculously complex. There is no real understanding of the relationship between retail prices that the consumer pays and the wholesale costs which the energy suppliers pay. And that lack of trust in that relationship has really broken down. And as a result, A lot of people are disengaged from the energy market. They don't bother to shop around. They don't bother to look to see what might be best for them. Now, it's a brave person who chooses to enter a market that is so dominated by incumbent providers. 99% of households are still with the big six, of which the biggest is, of course, British Gas. But 2 years ago, when Midcounties was first contemplating this move, we were encouraged by some real commitment from politicians and the regulator to tackle this market and to make it work better for consumers. And that's been translated into some concrete steps that the regulator has taken to level the playing field and to make it easier for small suppliers such as ourselves to compete on equal terms with the giants. Take this one first, please. Gentleman in the blue shirt.
Thank you very much. Chris from Gloucestershire. Congratulations on all your power coming from renewable sources. I mean, that's a real first and an achievement. I wondered, the other side of the coin is, does any of it come from nuclear? And I know that you're not in a position to be able to do anything about that as a retailer, as it were. But do you have any ethical standards about nuclear power?
We do have a policy on fuel mix, which includes different types of fuel. I'm going to ask Ramsey if he would answer that, as he looks after energy purchasing, amongst other things.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk about the nuclear first. We're not making a commitment that we will never buy nuclear. We haven't bought nuclear so far. We have no intention of buying nuclear in the near future. But we don't know what the position will be in a few years' time. And so I guess it's unlikely we will ever buy nuclear, but we're not going to categorically commit ourselves to never buying nuclear. We are committed to renewables. We're committed to buying renewables where possible. The careful wording around the sort of the pledge that we make of sort of below half the national average on carbon reduction is to allow us to make that commitment on reducing the carbon content, and that's what renewables is there to do, of course. But there may be a time where there is more demand for renewables than there is renewables. We have to have too many customers. Our challenge then will be to facilitate more renewables coming along. So we're very committed to renewables, but there could be occasions when we're challenged to do that, which is why we're very careful about what we commit to do.
Question over there, thank you.
Right, is that on? Can I quickly ask you about gas servicing? Most of the big six all do servicing on the gas, and we pay about £200 a year. They get you see, we're with Npower, and providing you don't call them out except for the normal service, they give you £90 back, so they tend to hold you. But in practice, we live down near Tame, near Oxford. The guy who comes to service the boiler comes from Birmingham, which seems a bit strange. And I spoke to our local plumber, and he said, well, we work for British Gas and Npower and one of the other people. So why I'm asking the question, why can't you start doing servicing?
I think that's a very good point. There's undoubtedly demand from the same households that we're supplying with energy for a broader range of services. It might include boiler maintenance, it might include energy efficiency measures. We've got something called the Green Deal coming up in the next few months, which is one of the government's initiatives to promote energy efficiency measures at home. All these things do look attractive opportunities for us. We've been very careful, though, to start as simple a business as possible, to make sure that we can achieve profitability, to make sure that we can provide excellent customer service. So on day one, and in fact throughout our first year, we have just been providing gas and electricity as the commodity. But all these other developments, including the one you mentioned, are in our pipeline of things that we're very actively researching. And when the time is right, I'm sure you'll hear more.
I've already switched to Co-op Energy, and I'd like to know two things. One is, how much more expensive is the fixed rate over the standard rate? Just a very rough percentage. And what sort of length of time is the fix?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we've been hearing a lot in the media about huge gas price increases expected in the coming months. I'd like to hear your comments on that, please.
Okay, I'll deal with the first question myself, and then the question about gas prices I'm going to hand over to Ramsey, so I've bought him a bit of time. So the first question, the fixed price tariff is, and this is a national average figure, and it really does depend on where you live and how much you consume. But it's about, for an average consumer, about £90 per annum lower price, but you have to commit to that tariff for 12 months. The only way we can afford to offer that rate is by having people who will be with us for the full 12 months. So for that reason, pardon? It's lower, yeah. But of course, that's got to be compared with the Pioneer variable rate, which we've promised will be consistently competitive. So yes, prices might go up, but we've also been surprised that prices have gone down. This year, I think people have been probably more surprised at how prices have gone down than they've gone up. So it's not a clear-cut decision for people, but we'll be presenting all the facts and all the rates to you next week. I need to ask people who've got a microphone already. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, the gas prices question.
There's gas prices on the wholesale market sort of globally have been moving up and down quite a lot over the past year or two. We have a policy of sort of buying both gas and electricity forward to try and smooth out and try and give as much certainty to our customers about pricing as we can do. So we've already bought a lot of gas through next winter. However, we're growing, so we will need to buy some more. There are British Gas, I think, announced that they're expecting prices to go up quite a lot. With any markets, any commodity markets, people make guesses as to what's going to happen. We don't know for certain is the answer. We do, through our purchasing strategy, try and smooth out and give as much certainty and as much protection to our customers as we can do. I can't give you a categorical answer of what's going to be happening in a few months' time. If I knew, then I could command the markets, but it's, I'm sorry, that's the best I can answer.
Give us any feedback or any comment at any time via any one of those various channels and contact points, because it is all about learning from what our customers and prospective customers are saying.